Hey there YouTube, Asylumchild here. I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do with this channel, and mostly I've been focusing on my art, instead of more gaming, and the big question I got all the time was, how did you learn how to draw? How do you draw like you do? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you some of my little secrets. Okay, so back when I was a kid, I'm going to say about 4 years old, I had the opportunity to be in a painting class. And well, before you start painting and everything, you have to learn how to draw what you're going to paint first. That way you get a structure down and everything. So what my teacher first had me doing is still life. I know some people are like, oh God, still life. And you have horrible memories of art class in high school where you had to draw all these pictures and pears and apples and tables and just get the lighting and the whatever right. And you're just like, and I know you're having weird Vietnam flashbacks and stuff right now. But
no, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
But actually, there's a good reason why you start with still life. And the reason why is because what we're going to do with this little exercise is when you have still life, you're trying to get the shapes, the ideas of seeing the shapes in everyday objects, like this pear, this pitcher, these grapes, even the table. Pretty soon, it's like you're catching your right side of your brain with your left side of your brain. I read a book a long time ago, not super long, I'm not that old, get over it. And it was called Drawing from the Right Side of Your Brain. And what it taught you is that the left side of your brain is like the whimsical, creative side of your brain, and the right side of your brain is the analytical, math part of your brain. I know, math. So here's kind of how it works. See, when you're looking at this picture with your picture and everything, when you go to draw this still life, you're thinking to yourself, the left side of your brain is sitting here going, well, there's a curve here because that's a pear, and it curves in like this, and it has a little curve up here, and it goes down like this. It's got a stem like so, and a little wrinkle like there, and it's got some of the shadowing and everything here, and then the picture handle here, and it goes into the pitcher, and then goes into the grapes, and then up here it's got a bigger grape, and over here it's a little smaller grape, and then you got a little stem right here. And meanwhile, the right side of your brain, while your left side is doing all this stuff, the right side of your brain is sitting here going, okay, here we have a circle, and here we have another half circle which goes into another elliptical, that it goes approximately right here and here on this other elliptical. And then about here, about halfway through this elliptical, we have another elliptical that is precisely in this position from this elliptical over here. And then you've got these lines here, this line up here, this line up here, and it goes into this line, which is bisected by this circle. And mathematics, it just goes into mathematical, all it sees is all these circles and shapes. It doesn't see these are grapes, this is a pear, this is a pitcher sitting on a table. What it's getting is there's a line over here, and it bisects this part over here, or it goes through here, and then there is a line over here that curves around and goes into here, and this and that, and there's a slight line here, so we have to draw that in there, and then the light goes down here, and then there's other lines that go here, and this is what your right side of your brain is thinking. So what we're doing with these still life exercises, and what you do is it's kind of getting a way of getting your left side of your brain to connect with the right side of your brain. So you can say, okay, I'm going to draw this pear and this pitcher with some grapes on it. on a table, on a wooden table with this grain and everything. But the right side of your brain is going, okay, the way we're going to do that is first we're going to start off with this shape here, and then we're going to go into this shape here, and then approximately right here on this shape we're going to start this shape here, and then this shape comes out approximately from this side of this shape and goes here. The right side of your brain doesn't say, okay, we're going to put the handle right here. It goes, okay, we're going to put this curving line here approximately where this shape, in the middle of this shape, and it curves around approximately this high and goes up this way and blah blah. That way, you know, that's the best part to drawing, because then you can see everyday objects, and then pretty soon what you do is, once you're used to seeing the lines in everyday objects, pretty soon when you decide to say when you decide you want to draw something from your head, then you see it in your left side of your brain, you see it on the paper. And then your right side of the brain goes, oh, I remember how to draw this. What we do, we start off with a pair, and we pair it off right here, this, and then it had a part that curved up like this, and then it had a part that curved around like this, and then approximately right here we had a stem and some lines for showing depth and everything, and then it had some shading here, and then about right here we had a handle. Yeah, I remember that. And then about here we had this shape, and then it went up like this, and then, you know, we had some circles up here and some half circles, and then it had some lines here, and then it had a circle here, and then it had a circle over here, and then about approximately here it had another circle, and then it had this curving line, and then it down here, and then it had these curving lines over here, and then you can further it, and if you remember right, or you see how things are, you go, oh yeah, that's right, and then I remember we want to draw a table here. This is how a table looks, and the right side of your brain is going, yep, that's right. There's straight lines here, and then there was a straight line here, and then, you know, it had some table legs here, and, you know, and then, you know, these lines here approximately back here, and then it had some lines back here, and then it has some lines back here, and then see, your left side of your brain says, okay, we drew a pear and a pitcher and some grapes sitting on a table. But the right side of your brain is going, okay, we drew some circles, and we drew some curving lines, and we drew some of this. That's pretty much how you get that. So you start off learning how how things take shape. You start seeing the shapes and things. And pretty soon you start want to draw people. So then people are also still life. So, and I know what you're thinking. When you think of figure study, everybody thinks one thing. But it's not actually like that. It's more like this. Same principle as the still life. Now, I'm not going to draw her exactly the way she looks because, well, I'm not that good when it comes to this Wacom tablet I've got, which is the reason why I do a lot of things the way I do. See, it's in my lap and I'm looking at the screen right now. So everything I draw, I can see the cursor moving, see? But it's kind of like another art class term that's going to make some cringe. Remember a blind contour drawing? That's when you're looking at your subject, but you're not looking down at your sketch pad or your pencil. So you're just drawing away in the hopes that your lines are going straight on your subject and drawing it correctly. Well, the difference between a actual blind contour and using this Wacom tablet is I can see where my pencil's going. It doesn't mean it's any easier, it just means that's pretty much what it's like. But like, same thing. See, we're going to draw this model, and we draw her the same way we would a still life. And you start off with some structure, like she's going to have a round head. So we started off with a round head, and she's got like this, and then she's got a jawline that comes about here. And then she goes, right here is we got guidelines, and her eye is about here. Her other eye is over here. And then she's got her nose curves in like this. then she's got lips that go like this. And see how it's starting? This, I know it doesn't look like her, and well, you know, forgive me for not having exactly the way. I'm not very good at portrait drawing. But you get the idea. You get the idea because, you know, you'll start, okay, this is where her eye is, and this is where her eye is over here, and then her other eye goes around over here like this. And, you know, it curves around like this, and then she's got a curve in her nose. Meanwhile, the right side of your brain's going, okay, there's a curve here, and it goes here, and it goes over this, and then it goes over here, and then there's this line over here, and then she's got lines over here that go into this, and, you know, it goes over here, and goes over here, and, you know, and then she's got, you know, this line over here, and then it goes over here. And meanwhile, your left side of your brain's going, okay, this is her cheek, this is her jawline, this is where her eye comes in, and this is where, you know, this is where her hair is, and this is where her forehead comes in, and, you know, and you can get in there and do this and really get in there. And well, this looks more like a gesture drawing than an actual drawing, doesn't it? But you get the idea. I mean, it's just like doing the still life, only instead of drawing a picture and some grapes and stuff, we're drawing this woman, which I believe is bikini model Adriana Lima, just in case you guys are like, oh my god, who is that? I gotta know who that is. Well, she's a Victoria's Secret model, or was, and it's Adriana Lima. So for those people sitting there going, oh my god, who's the model in your video? Well, that's her. And the only reason why I'm using her is because, well, she was the first one I Googled. So sue me. Talk about tracing. And I know what some people are going to say. They're going, tracing? Dude, that's cheating. You know, no, you're not supposed to trace. You're supposed to just draw whatever you see. You're not supposed to trace. Tracing's cheating.
So basically, you just trace.
It's not tracing, all right? I add depth and shading to give the image more definition. Only then does the drawing truly take shape.
No. You go over what he draws with a pen, all right? That's tracing.
Not really.
Well, I'm here to tell you, it's not cheating. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, I've got lots of favorite artists, people that I like and everything. And, like Jim Lee, Shiro Masamune, Stanley Art Germ Lau. And there's even one famous artist that I watch here on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want. His name is Shannon Maer. And what he does is he uses Daz Studio for all his models. Well, that's cool because he paints. But I'll tell you the reason why you want to trace, and tracing is a good thing. Now, it's not good to trace all the time. Tracing is really just kind of making sure that stuff gets in there right, or just getting the basic idea. And unless you're an inker, we're going to open this one. Unless you're an inker for a comic book or something, you do not want to just copy somebody else's work and make it your own. That's just cheating. Now, that is cheating. But like stuff like this, like, I like this picture. I think these girls look really cool. I love the way their faces look and everything. And I like this style. So what I'm going to try to do is try to trace some of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Control A and Control C. So that selects everything and that copies it. And I'm going to close this. And I don't want to make any changes to it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to paste it. Control V. And it's too small. So I'm going to Control T. And I'm going to make this pretty big. I'm just going to focus on one of the girls. Okay, so I'm going to go with the tan girl here. And I'm going to make her big enough to where you guys at home can see what I'm doing here. So I make it pretty big. Okay, now see, I like this style and I want to try and, you know, understand this style. So what you're going to do with tracing, so I'm going to turn down the opacity to where I can focus on my picture, and I'm going to go to the next layer. Now what I'm trying to focus on is the same thing I was doing with still life, but this is a step further. Anytime you want to try and and capture somebody's style. And it's okay to copy somebody's style for practice and stuff, because, or even, for practice. Because the way you learn how to draw, the way I learned how to draw, is I picked up stuff from other artists all the time. Like, I didn't just pick up a pencil and say, I'm going to draw a car, and I just drew a car. Or I'm going to draw, a warrior woman, and I never looked at any Boris Vallejo or Louis Royo or anything. No. I was like, okay, I want to draw a warrior woman. Well, what does a warrior woman look like? And this is back before the internet, I'm old, but I'm not that old. Shut up. So, I would look up pictures of warrior women, from the library or something, and I'd get an art book from Louis Royo or something like that, and I would look and see how they drew things, and I would kind of pick up their styles, where if you copy enough or you get inspiration enough from other people, pretty soon you can put your own spin on their stuff and make it your own style. And the best way to learn something is from copying masters, or seeing how somebody who has mastered something, how they do it. Just like, if you were wanting to play sports and you wanted to be the quarterback of your team, well, wouldn't you want to go to football games and see how professional quarterbacks did it? Same principle. You want to see how a professional artist do this stuff. This is the reason why you're watching this video. You're probably like, I can draw pretty good, but I can't draw nearly as good as Asylumchild, so I'm going to watch his video and see what he's talking about and see how to improve my drawing style. So that's what we do. So this is what you do. You're going to trace. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to do my very best to try, and once again, I'm doing a blind contour, so it's not going to be perfect, but I'm just going to go around lines. And what I'm doing is I'm setting muscle memory. I'm setting muscle memory to how this stuff is shaped. So my right side of my brain can get calculations and say, okay, and this anime girl in this style, her eyebrows are shaped like this. They're approximately this tall, this long. They're approximately this placement on this circle and this on part of her head. And you can even, if you really want to, you can even go with, instead of tracing, try to get an idea of where the lines are, like this. You're like, okay, her head is approximately this round. Okay, that's pretty. She's got a pretty big head. And her chin comes down to like here. Okay, so, we get the jawline in there, and then she's got an ear right here. And then her eyes come about here. And then the middle of her face is about here. Okay, so then we got one eye that's about here, and then the other eye is approximately right here. Okay, so, and then her nose comes to about here, and then her mouth comes about here, about mid jawline, from the circle to the jawline, and then she's got her neck and stuff. So her neck and her shoulder, her collarbone and stuff come about here. And then you can't see it, but you probably approximate. And you can say, okay, breasts come about here, shoulder's going to come about there, other shoulder is turned in like that. Okay, yeah, so you got a pretty good idea. Then you can go, okay, well, I want to know how these shapes work in her eyes. So you start tracing like her eyes. So you go this way, it goes up like this, and she's got eyelashes like this, and it goes down, and it goes dots like that, and it goes into this, and then there's a highlight, and there, and then her nose actually curves in like this. Okay, and then her other eye goes in like this. And then she's got crazy eyelashes like this. And then it goes in like this. It goes around, and she's got some eyelashes here, and it goes in there. And then it's got a circle and a highlight, a circle in here. Then her mouth is like, you know, you can erase these if they really get in the way. It's just for sketching purposes. So you go, okay, there's a line that goes in here like this, and goes down like that, and their mouth is kind of like that, and then you just kind of lips. Okay, and her lip curves around like that. It's got little highlights like that. Her hair is shapes like this, so like that. Okay, so her hair is approximately like this, and goes around like that. Okay, and then you're getting an idea of shapes. You're getting an idea of shapes. And you're like, huh, okay, that's how that works. And then there's lines like this and like that, and that's how that's shaped. And then, you know, headband. And then, you know, you got these shapes here, you got these lines here that show that she's got a ponytail. Now, it's not perfect, but it's a good starting point for a sketch, you know, and it's kind of like exercising your brain to have some muscle memory of, oh, that's how these eyes are shaped, or that's how this is shaped. So when you want to draw your own character, see, that's a pretty good sketch. That's a pretty good study. So when you want to draw your own character, and I know this is going to look like crap, so forgive me. You want to draw your own character, you get a pretty good idea. You're like, okay, I remember that the anime girl has a big round head like this, and then she has a jawline about like this, and then about here with a curve of an ear, and then her face bisected about here, her eyes were about here in line with her ear, her nose was about here, and her mouth was about here, and then she had an eye here and a curve, and then she had about an eye here, you know. And then she had her eyebrows were shaped like this. And I remember she had crazy eyelashes. You know, first you have to draw the eye, and then crazy eyelashes, or maybe you don't want to draw crazy eyelashes. Maybe you just want to draw the eye the way you see it in your head. It doesn't have to look exactly the way it did in the picture you just traced in muscle memory. But you see, my muscle memory, I remember how her eyes were shaped, or how that artist drew those eyes. And now, in my mind, I can see eyes the way they were drawn, and my muscle memory takes care of the rest. Now, she's not going to look exactly the way the other girl looked, because, you know, it's my own style. I'm not trying to copy that guy's style. I'm just trying to draw an anime girl. See? Unlike his, mine's got a different face. But I got a basic idea of how that anime girl's face looks, and how I can draw an anime girl in that way. Let's show you, draw some hair. So her hair went down like this, and then you had a piece like this, and it went around like that. Yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to put a headband. I want to have long flowing hair, so I'm going to do that. Maybe I want her to have long flowing hair, see? So, because I know how hair works, I can go in here and give her long flowing hair. Put her in a different pose. Maybe this shoulder is up instead of the other shoulder. So she's got this shoulder up. See? And you can put your own spin to it. See, she's not even in the same pose as the other girl. And you might, go over some mistakes and stuff like, okay, that head is way too high. Her head would actually come about right here. And the reason why I noted that her head was too high and why it didn't look right is because my muscle memory, that's still too high, see? My muscle memory from tracing and doing some exercises makes it realize that her head would actually come about right here. I even had that too far out, see? That's how far her head would go. Or even, it's even bigger, it's even smaller than that. Because look, that's her skull. So, it would actually be down to here. There you go. See how your muscle memory, when you get good at it, you practice enough, copy some other people's styles and stuff so you can kind of make them in your own. Because that's the best way to learn, is from learning from other people and other masters, seeing how they do stuff, and learning how to do stuff like that. Now, if you want to do stuff professional, like Shannon Maer, it's okay to trace stuff from your own stuff. Like, if I wanted to, instead of just drawing this digitally using only my Wacom tablet and this Clip Studio Paint, I could draw something with pencil on paper and then scan the image in. And then I'd go over the image with, pencil or ink pen. So now I'm going to show you what me and Shannon Maer always do. And what I normally do, because I want my models to look good and everything, and I don't want them to be crappy, is these are reference materials here that I've all collected. You'll notice there's all kinds of different skin tones, anime girls, there's some stuff from Art Germ, there's some exercises for eyes, things like that. That way I get colors and stuff right, and I use it for reference. I also have Daz Studio, which I'm going to put the link in the description down below. Daz Studio is a 3D modeling studio where you can make models. Now there's different stuff that you can do for that, which I'll probably make a different video about that, but this is pretty much what you do. So let's say I want to do this one. She looks pretty cool, huh? Now this is a model that I've made. It's a 3D model. This is called Genesis 2. It's actually kind of outdated, but I don't care. The reason why I don't care is because I'm not interested in making a 3D picture. All I'm interested in is I want the shapes, the basic shapes and everything, and when I'm painting or coloring it, I want to know what the highlight areas are and everything, so I can make the highlights and stuff really, really good. So like that picture of that other anime girl, I'm going to copy and paste the whole thing onto this paper. Control T, and I don't want the whole thing, so I'm just going to enlarge her enough to where she fits on screen big enough that you guys can see. Now the difference between me and the artist Shannon Maer is Shannon, when he paints stuff, he goes in a Daz Studio, like say he wants to paint a warrior woman with a big sword and she's fighting a giant snake. Okay, he will go in with his Daz Studio and he's got tons of models and hair and swords, and he will go in, he will render the entire scene in Daz Studio. And he'll have her hair, he'll put hair on her. You'll notice my model doesn't have any hair. He'll put hair on her and he'll position the hair exactly the way he wants it. He'll dress her up in the kind of armor he wants to draw her in and paint her in. He'll put a sword in her hand. He'll even bring in a snake and make it giant. So he brings out the whole scene and paints the whole scene just like I'm going to do this Daz Studio model. I don't do that. That's Shannon's style, and that's how Shannon does things, and he's a professional and he can do what he wants because that's his deal. I don't do that. Now, I'm not saying I'm better than Shannon, because I'm not. If you've ever seen some of my stuff and you see Shannon's stuff, you're like, yeah, Shannon's a professional and you suck. And it's like, yeah, I know. So I'm not dissing on Shannon Maer and his style and everything. That's just how he does that. And the reason why he does that is because like me, he wants his pictures to be cool. He doesn't want to be like, oh wow, that's a really cool anime girl, but dude, her head is way too big for her body. Are you making a chibi or something? Or you got her like, you know, this really beautiful girl, but she's got 2 left feet, or her eyes are crooked, or, you know, her nose looks like, you know, somebody hit her in the face with a board and it's swelled up or something. You know, you don't want it to be disproportionate and stuff. So a lot of artists will use reference materials so that they get the proportions right. That's why you say sometimes you see these guys sitting there with their pencil and they're measuring out just how far the eyes are from their cheek over here as opposed to their nose and their lips and stuff. Well, I ain't got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So what we do is we go down the opacity, and see, what I'm doing is just basic shape, and I'm just going to sketch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with her ear over here, and I'm just going to basically sketch, and I'm not even going to use all the lines that are in the reference material. I'm just doing reference. This is pretty much just my reference drawing. Now true, I'm tracing, but that's only to make sure that I get the proportions straight, because I don't want this painting or picture to look stupid. I don't want someone to go, wow, that's a really cool picture, but how come you made her nose so big? She looks like a friggin' pig. You know, I don't want my girl to look like a pig, so. It's also, like, once again, bringing in that muscle memory. So I get like basic eyes, basic sketching of eyes, the shapes down, and her proportions, so that I know for sure where her chin is, where her lips are, this finger pointed at her mouth. You know, you just sketch it. And it's okay if you're messy, because this is just a sketch. I'm not trying to be all, I'm not all trying to be all professional about it, because this is just the under sketch. I'm just getting the basic idea and shapes in here so that I can make this my own. You'll notice I'm also showing where her knuckles are and stuff. It's not like I'm going to paint her knuckles. I'll probably paint her knuckles in there, but a lot of stuff, especially with manga drawing and anime drawing, they don't draw in knuckles like that. They don't draw in knuckles like that. Depending on the character, they don't draw knuckles like that. I'm also getting bone structure. I may not even draw all these lines in here. I'm just getting a basic idea of where her bone structure is, her musculature, and things like, say, she's got ab muscles. You're trying to draw a warrior woman. You don't want, you're trying to draw Wonder Woman or something. Jim Lee, for instance, when he draws Wonder Woman, he doesn't do her with, he doesn't draw her with a little round tummy or something. No, Wonder Woman's got abs. She's an Amazon. She's a warrior woman. And whether women really have abs like that or not is not the point. The point is she's a superhero, so she's going to have superhero proportions. A lot of people forget that kind of stuff. You want superhero proportions, so you kind of exaggerate certain things. So I'm going to go in here and remember where her side is and stuff. I'm going to make sure I put a little bit of wrinkles to show, okay, this is where her leg is going to fold over. Then, after I get, an idea, and her hair is going to probably be about right here. Okay, and that's the top of her skull here, something like that. And I'm going to have hair down here, just, okay. Down here, so it's like that, okay. So you got a basic sketch. Now I'm not going to get rid of it because I would also use this, you know, bringing up the opacity. I'll also use this for helping me to see where the highlights and stuff are when I'm painting. But for right now, I'm just going to eyeball. Now, if you really want, you know, to go in with, and make your details and stuff, you know, make it blue or something where you can see it. And then, you know, if I wanted to, you could really get in here, and then we can really get in there and start doing our artwork, you know, where we're actually, okay, we're getting ready to paint this. So, you know, this is where we go in, and we get in all our lines, you know, like this. I'm not going to do it because I'm not actually going to paint this. This is just, it's not that kind of video. But, you know, like I'm going in here and I'm going to do, this is where we would get all her details in there, like we were about ready to color it. So if I wanted to, this is where I could stylize it. You know, I got a basic idea of where eyes are and stuff. So if I wanted to draw with anime eyes, I could, you know, get in there and do the anime style eyes, you know, and really get out there. And they don't have to follow any particular pattern. They just go here and see like that, and then I'm going to do the implied line thing with anime, so there, you know, like that. Just do some implied line, and then here. You know, and I don't have to, you don't have to follow, you can use your own style. See, now that you got the basic outline of said drawing, now you can put your own style on it. Like I could just leave that, put her teeth in here if I wanted to, you know. Of course, I probably wouldn't do that in a picture because that looks like crap. This is just for an example. But like, see, I don't have to keep the eyes and stuff exactly the way they are. I could do anime style. In fact, if I wanted to do her eyes completely different, go in here and just really make her eyes different. I could even do the round, you know, anime eyes. So let's see, let's go round anime eyes like this. And like that. And then, you know, like this. And then, you know, this is the way it is here. So we just highlight that. Oh, my bad, wrong. See? I don't even have to go along with the same eyes. If I wanted to give her the big round anime eyes, I could give her those, you know? Just make sure that you keep your proportions though. If you're going to do that, you want to make sure you keep the proportions that you kept. See? I can even go here. Oh, my bad. But you get the idea. You know, you just go in here. You could even make her jawline real sharp if you wanted to. Instead of rounding it off, her jawline could be, you know, really sharp. See? So this was a good way to get your paintings, your drawings, you get the basic idea by tracing and stuff. And it's okay to trace like this. There are a lot of professional artists who use tracing or things like that. Like Norman Rockwell, for instance. We all know Norman Rockwell and how he did Saturday Evening Post. That guy used to take photographs of stuff and then use a projector. And then, you know, you project the image on a wall or something like this, and then he'd go over, and he'd just go over the projected image. And then turn the projector off, and he'd have an outline for him to paint. And he'd use the photo for reference for highlights and shadows and stuff. So there you go, folks. That's a basic little, that's how I learned how to draw. So it's okay to trace. And it's okay to kind of get an idea or get inspiration for other people's style. You know, and so try it at home. Try finding some pictures on Google or something of some of your favorite artists and try copying their stuff. That way you can get muscle memory of how things are shaped in your mind. So the next time you're like, I want to draw a warrior woman drawing a giant snake, you've already, practiced and gotten your brain to visualize both right and left side of how these shapes fit together to fit the image that's in your imagination onto paper. I hope this helps out some, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.